Welcome to You Can Do It. Today we are going to be talking about Makita impact drivers. I use the impact driver, I use actually the DTW1002z a lot, and there's always times when I need to get a big nut, which I can't do with that one off. So I finally decided to pull the trigger, and I just got myself a brand new DTW1002. So let's get this box open and have a look inside, because actually it's quite a bit different to the DTW1002z. So those of you who like unboxing, here we are, I've unboxed it. She's brand new. Look, there she is. What a beast. Don't worry about the other stuff in there at the moment. So that is a brand new DTW1002. The videos I do them, I generally try to lift the car up with the jack that comes with it and everything, and I have to say they're quite flimsy, those jack, and I don't ever feel it's the safest process, but once it's on the axle stand, you know, then you're generally safer. But even still, when you're trying to undo some big old hefty nuts like your drive shaft nuts and things like that, and you're using a long lever, you know, there can be quite a bit of twist and movement. So I've been looking forward to getting one of these to try and make that whole job a little bit easier, quicker, and less stress. So the thing that's really interesting, I mean, this is a beast. It is a complete beast, but you don't even know how much of a beast it is until you see it relative to the other Makita impact drivers. So when you go on the internet and you buy one of these, I mean, the pictures are all the same. You think, well, yeah, it's pretty much the same as the other ones, and here's a little bit more power. But let's just wait a second and I'll go and get my other impact driver and you'll see what I mean. Do you see what I mean? That's a 251. A little bit smaller, isn't it? But when you buy these off the internet, they all look the same size, but this is a huge thing. So I've had this on the scales. This with the battery is about 4 kilos. So that's a good piece of weight there. Obviously this is probably more like a kilo and a bit. So there's a huge, but this is great for when you're in the small spaces and you need to get things out that are, you know, 30 mil and stuff like that. But once you start going for the big boys, you need something like this. So I was quite surprised at how much bigger it is. So you're talking about 4 kilos, and then you put your socket on the end there. So you're talking a little bit of weight. Now, you know, we're doing these videos, and are we doing these videos and repairing these cars to save money, or to save time, or for another thing? So I'm personally now doing this to save time, so I don't have to go to the garage, book it in, do all that stuff, and I can decide when and where I'm going to repair the vehicle. But as life goes on, I really appreciate now and understand that actually wriggling around underneath the car or the van is a hell of a workout. So this being 4 kilos, actually I look as a bit of a challenge. So that's a proper workout. When you're working with that for 3 or 4 hours, getting out from under the car and jumping up and down, that's a good old workout. So it's a double win. I'm saving money, I'm saving time, and I'm getting fit. That was the reason I'm happy that that's heavy, and I'm really, really happy about this device. Now, obviously, it's got a hell of a lot more torque than that. I think that's about 300. This goes up to 1,000 Newton meters, which is massive. But the main thing about this is it's got on the handle down there, you've got 3 modes. You've got, you know, like slow, medium, fast, and that's about how fast the hammer hits on here. Now, I've been told, and what I've seen on the internet, is that you just want to be on basically the lowest setting most of the time, because it will strip stuff otherwise. So what we'll do is we'll put a battery on that. I've got my wheel socket there, my impact, and we'll go and try and get a few wheel nuts. Now the wheel nuts here over in Austria, they get covered in salt and everything, and the salt gets in there, so they really do get completely corroded, and they're really difficult to undo. Sometimes, you know, I have to stand on my long lever to crack them. So we'll see how this gets on with them. Hopefully it'll just whip them off. But before we go, I'm sure a lot of you know, but just in case you don't, if you don't use a proper molybdenum impact socket, you're losing a lot of the effort of the hammer here. So if you take yourself your nice shiny chrome vanadium sockets, you've got two situations there. One, it can explode, and two, it just doesn't have the same sort of mass as these impact sockets. And the impact sockets, I think, are chrome molybdenum, so they're heavier, and it's slightly more malleable metal, which means that when you put it on here, you're getting much more of a hammer effect on your on whatever nut you're trying to undo. For instance, when I first got this, I put my chrome vanadium sockets on, and I was really disappointed. I thought bloody wouldn't undo anything, and then I realised it was because once I start putting these heavy duties, these things on, then it starts undoing the nuts, because it's a hammer. This is like the more weight in this, the more weight you can transfer to the nut that you're trying to undo. So anyway, just for you, those of you that don't know that. So anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to go outside, stick this on, and we'll see how it gets on with undoing the wheel nuts on the VW-T5, and also drive shaft nuts. So we're going to use the trusty new impact driver to change these all these summer tyres and put on these big winter ones. So let's see how the new beast works. Okay, she's jacked up. Make sure the impact's on the right way around, and let's go. Show you. 1, 2, 3. And that's all on the lowest. That's all on the lowest setting. Look there. They are absolute doddle. Let me change the wheel. Okay, now we're just going to get the wheel. So this is the beast with a 30 mil on there. Just check it's undone, and it's only on the bottom there. I'll just try it on the first setting. It's on the lowest setting, yeah, on there. Let's see. Yeah, that's on the lowest setting. That's amazing, eh? Right. Okay, so we're back inside now. Just to finish this off, what we'll do is to say that basically this is a beast. It's brilliant, it's fantastic, and does anything, but you do really need one of these ones to complement it. So if you're trying to do a job, there'll be some small spaces that you can get into with this one that you can't get into with that one. But what I've also what I've started to do a lot more actually is use a lot of long extensions. If you're underneath the car and you're trying to get something, you used to use a lot of long extensions and get a socket on it like that. So on that basis, you can use that, but that might be like, I don't know, half a metre away from the nut or something. So what I have done is, I'm not going to keep it in these boxes, I'm just moving around a lot at the moment, so I think this takes up too much space. But look, I've got some of these extensions, which means you can extension it out. You always need one of these, which is really good. So if you're sort of underneath trying to do a gearbox bolt or some bolt underneath, you can't quite get the thing in with some extensions and stuff like that. You can get that in there, and then you've got the power of that thing to undo it. So this is just a standard little set, but that's a very useful one if you want to change the 1/2 inch to 3/4. Now why I might have to do that is because you might have to do that because basically I've got myself a set of these extra big ones for like the wheel nuts and all that, not wheel nuts, for your drive shafts and all these sort of big things. So they go up to 36. And sometimes when you start getting bigger, there'll be a 3/4 inch drive, so you'll need that adapter to go on there. Because I think the difference between the 1001 and the 1002 is that this is 1/2 inch and the 1001 is 3/4 inch. I wouldn't get 3/4 inch because that's good for commercial, but you won't be able to use it on your smaller stuff. So get that, and then you can step it up with that one.
So that's really useful. That's really useful. Well, actually, they're all, but get yourself a good set of them. I mean, I've got impacts for everything now, right down to small stuff. So this is a reducer from 1/2 inch to 3/8, and then I've got from 3/8 to 1/4. I mean, I don't really use the 3/8 to 1/4 much, but I use that a lot on there. So I'll have that on there with a smaller 3/8 socket, and then if I need some big stuff, I'll have this one. So you see, they work really, really well together. Now, something I used this time when I was doing the gearbox was I picked this up, and this was really useful. So what happens is if you've got this with a load of extensions on, you might have this here, and then you've got all the extensions on, which means your socket's up there. So it's really difficult to hold that with just say one hand. So you can use this beast, which is brilliant. So let's say it's very difficult for me to do all this with just one hand. Let me just set this up. So you've got that on there. Let's just say, for argument's sake, it's that socket. So that's on there. Let's say it's doing some bolt underneath, and you've got that. And you might, for instance, have another extension like that. Got that, and then let's say, classic example is like drive shaft, half shaft bolts. Yeah. So you've got that on there. You've got this in there. Now that's a long throw for that to hold like that. So with this here, you can hold that like that, and the thing spins inside it. So that's very difficult for me to try and show you that and hold the camera. So you can basically hold that tight, locate that bolt up there, and then the other hand is holding the impact driver on the other end of there, and that is really, really useful. Very, very useful. So that's another good little tool to have with that. But other than that, it's all pretty self-explanatory. You just need to get yourself some impact sockets and stuff. So I made this video because there's videos on the internet that talk about how strong that is, but they don't give you the sort of practicalities of. I was wanting to let people know how big it is. So it's a beast. It does a fantastic job, but it's big. So you'll find it's sometimes too big for certain situations. So in those situations, you have a choice. You either use extensions like this, in which case you need these sort of extensions, or you go down to a smaller one, but the smaller one might not be strong enough to do the nut, in which case you need to go back to this with your long extensions. Hence this little bit of a extension to the video about other bits and bobs that you need with it. But I hope this has helped, and I hope this persuades people to get Makita. Obviously I'm not sponsored by anyone, I'm not big enough yet for that, but I can't recommend these enough. I mean, they're absolutely brilliant. There are other makes out there, and then, you know, sometimes they don't push out the sort of so-called torque that they say they do, but I can totally and utterly recommend this beast and this beast. They've been my little well, that's been a major workhorse. This one, now I've just got it, that is becoming a major workhorse. But you just can't help but smile when you undo those massive nuts with this thing, just like cutting through butter. Anyway, I hope this all helped. If you like the channel, subscribe or give me a thumbs up, and I hope this has helped some people make a decision about your Makita impact drivers. You can do it.